You are the resistance. God bless and good luck.
That was Alex Jones earlier today lamenting the sale of his InfoWars platform as part of the $1.4 billion defamation judgment that he owes to family members of victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Pending a bankruptcy court hearing in Houston next week over whether the auction sale was correctly administered, The Onion, as in The Onion, as in the excellent and satirical news site, is expected to acquire the InfoWars website and its associated social media accounts, among other assets. The Onion plans to remake InfoWars into a parody of itself, one that mocks weird internet personalities who shamelessly peddle misinformation. As bonus karmic justice, the nonprofit organization Everytown for Gun Safety has partnered with The Onion as the exclusive advertiser on the revamped InfoWars site. Joining me now are Ben Collins, the chief executive of The Onion's parent company, Global Tetrahedron, and John Feinblatt, president of Everytown for Gun Safety. What a day, gentlemen. Thank you for making time.
It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, what an extraordinary day. First, just can we start with this the court hearing that's happening in Houston? Are you confident that the sale's going to go through?
Yeah, look, we won the auction. We heard from the trustee last night. And, the biggest shock to us would have been if Alex Jones was just like, oh, yeah, absolutely, they won the auction. Let's move right along.
Yeah.
So, we're not surprised by this development, but we won. We're excited to take over this thing.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are excited for you to take. Did you hear any response from Alex Jones's camp? Do you know how it landed when he was informed that it was The Onion with the exclusive advertisements from Everytown for Gun Safety?
Yeah, I think what's hilarious is that he kind of, from what we can tell, I'm not sure he knew what it was.
The Onion?
Yeah, I'm not sure he knew what The Onion. He lives in a completely siloed reality.
A completely humorless reality.
He's like the newspaper, The Onion. And we're like, yeah, correct. It is we do have a newspaper. You should all go get it, by the way. But I don't think he knew exactly what it was, and that was very funny to see. He also read a statement from our CEO, Bryce Tetrader, who may or may not exist.
Yes, it's a very hilarious statement.
Yeah, so it's nice for him to get some of his own medicine in a lot of ways today.
Yeah, can you explain, John, what it means for Everytown to be the exclusive advertiser here?
Yeah, and look, some people think it's odd bedfellows for The Onion and Everytown to be together. We think just the opposite. At our fingertips, we've got all the data, we've got the stories, we've got the research, but what they've got is the creativity to really break through. And in many ways, we think humor is a way to reach audiences we've never reached before and to reach them in a way with a new medium. And that is really satire and humor.
Yeah, I would imagine. First of all, I think that's such an astute observation, the power of humor. And I think in many ways, the right uses humor often wickedly to its own advantage. But the left hasn't been able to do it. And this sort of karmic justice is also insanely funny, right?
Yeah, it is.
What was the reaction from the parents who had their children massacred at Newtown, right, who've suffered through so much? They get this major settlement with Alex Jones. And now this turn of the screw. Can you talk a little bit about that?
John talked to them specifically today. But I do want to say, they made this happen.
The parents.
They deferred some money to make this happen for us within this case. And, I want to say...
Some of their settlement money was used towards this purchase.
Because they thought also this would be funny. The big cruel joke about Alex Jones is that he takes all of these people and turns them into characters in his world. The Sandy Hook families are characters that everybody involved in this case are soulless monsters and all this stuff. They are victims of the worst thing that can happen. But they're also human beings.
Yeah.
And they also like a joke.
Yeah.
They want something nice to happen. And, thankfully today, I think a lot of people opened their phone for the first time and saw something that didn't make them want to, run off into the woods and live in the wilderness. Exactly. They saw something really genuinely good. And that's the feeling they wanted to give to people, I think.
And the thing is, you have to acknowledge the courage of these families for years standing up to Alex Jones. And they know that the impact of this is bigger than just them. They know that this is going to have an impact on victims all over this country. And certainly Everytown is very concerned about those families. We came into really being after Sandy Hook, but they know that their courage is going to make a difference to families all over this country.
Well, and I think in the bigger picture, even setting aside the horror of gun violence, it's that Alex Jones his InfoWars site ends up being a charade, just like he's a charade,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
I mean, I think that there is real justice in that. I do have to ask, in terms of like how this idea came about, Ben, I think it was like you replied to a joke on Blue Sky, which
That's right.
is an alternative to X, saying that you were looking into buying InfoWars. Is that the seed? Looking into it.
I quoted a famous guy there when I said that. Look, that's really how we found out about it like everybody else did. We read on the news that it was for sale, and I think everybody in the room was like, wouldn't it be funny if we bought InfoWars? And then everyone was like, wait, but wouldn't it actually be funny if we bought InfoWars? So we had just bought The Onion like 9 months ago. So we had kind of known how to buy stuff at this point. And we just started calling around. We called the family's lawyers. We're like, how does this actually happen?
Why did you think of the families? Just because they were so already involved in this?
Yeah, and I also just knew them from my previous life at this place.
Right.
So I called them and I was like, what's the deal here? Like, what do you think it might take, and how do we actually make this work? And and then a few months later, we were simultaneously building up this roster of like Onion writer Hall of Famers, like the best comedy writers in America, and we're just NDAing them and being like, what would you do if we bought this thing? And at that point, we were like, if we don't get this thing, I think we're going to be pretty upset about it because we have this like very expansive, cool new world to build on this this horrible website we're about to pave over. So we're very excited to show it off to people, and that's basically they made it happen. The families made it happen. Everytown made it happen. By partnering with us in this, we're just really excited about the future.
What's the advertising going to look like? I mean, you guys have free reign here.
It's going to be from banner ads to creating content together to videos.
Are you going to sell supplements?
It's on the table, but we haven't decided yet.
Speaking of supplements, this is from the statement that was released by The Onion today about Alex Jones's supplement business. We plan to collect. Let me say this straight. We plan to collect the entire stock of the InfoWars warehouses of supplements into a large vat and boil down the contents into a single candy bar-sized omnivitamin that one executive, I will not name names, may eat in order to increase his power and perhaps become immortal. Can you expand on that? What actually happens to the supplements?
Well, we do know that we have them now, and we have to find out.
That's insane.
It is crazy. I have no idea what to do with tens of thousands, probably, of bottles of Brain Force Plus, but we're about to find out together. Maybe we will melt it down into one omnivitamin. If you want a bite, please.
Definitely.
Come down to Texas.
I want to see if you could melt it down. If you can melt down all of Alex Jones's vitamin supplements
you
into
might get
one omnivitamin.
You might get one full supplement.
I mean, something might actually happen to you.
Yeah, but Alex, I do think that in many ways humor is the way to battle disinformation and disarm them. But we always have to remember the one thing that isn't funny is the pain that Alex Jones visited on the Sandy Hook families. Nothing funny about that.
There is nothing funny about that. And that's why I think it's so meaningful that whenever people are on this site, there's going to be a constant reminder in the advertisements, and I'm sure you'll get creative with them, that this is the reason that this site is this way, right? And it's a constant reminder of the horror that Alex Jones inflicted upon these families in a moment of absolute devastation.
And people shouldn't forget that.
I think it's extraordinary that with that as the predicate, that you can try and find some joy and a next chapter in all of it too, right? And that's the sense of relief.
And that's what we are doing. We are turning the chapter. And we're turning the chapter on the strength of their talent and the courage of the Sandy Hook families.
Yeah, well, it's an extraordinary story about the families.
Yes, without a doubt.
Ben, I look forward to the documentary about all of this, especially the fabrication of the omnivitamin.
Yes, of
hopefully
course.
a Times Square kind of event.
Yeah,
the naked cowboy can be there.
Yeah, of course. Look, it's going to be a scary time for the people we tested omnivitamin on, but everybody else is going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time. One of the bright spots in an otherwise pretty dark moment for all of us. It is great to see you guys. Congratulations. Good luck with the road ahead. We will be reading voraciously when the time is right. Ben Collins and John Feinblatt, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.